So after our trip out yesterday, got a couple of things to sort out on the van today. One of which was the indicators. I think I've got a failed bulb on the indicators. So let's just have a look. That's because the step's out. But yeah, that's flashing too fast. So let's go and have a look. So, no, that one's working fine. Must be at the back. And oh, that one's working okay. Well, that's strange. It's flashing a bit fast, that's all. Okay, I think I'll just check the bulbs to see if they're the right bulbs in there. We don't have any other repeaters or anything, so that's very strange. Okay, well, at least it's working. That's the main thing. But the other thing is that I did fill it up with fuel yesterday. And as you can see, with the ignition on, it's showing no fuel. Oh, sorry, only a third of a tank, which is a little strange. So a bit of investigation into that, and we'll see if we can work out what's going on. First thing I'm going to do is to short out the sensor on the fuel tank and then see if the gauge actually goes to the top. Otherwise it might be a voltage regulator, but we'll give that a try and see what happens. Yeah, let me just show you turn that buzzer off, just the step alarm that's out. But that's the ignition on. If I go to the right, and then if you go to the left, you can see the difference. So something going on somewhere. Anyway, let's jump in and see what we can find. Okay, so I'm fairly certain I know what this problem is, and it's down to the voltage regulator. So with the ignition switched on at 12.5 volts, that's the level of the fuel gauge. And if I start it, you see as the revs rise, as the voltage goes up, the fuel gauge goes up. So that's indicative of a failed voltage regulator. So I'll go and dig around and see, first of all, where the old one is and how to order a new one. It should be relatively simple to change, but typically it's going to be the dash has got to come out. But I'll just do a bit of research and find out. And then the other thing I need to do is lead substitute de plomb. Yep, so the vehicle itself, because it's 1983, it expected to use leaded fuel. Of course, we don't buy that these days, we only have unleaded. And so we've got to put some of this in. It's not that expensive. I think these are about €5 and it'll last for 250 litres. But it's enough to protect the valve seats from wearing away. I mean, at some point we could put hardened valve seats in it, but not for the time being. We'll just use this. Anyway, just go and pop some of this in, and we should be good. But yeah, I'll source a voltage regulator. I'll come back and show you that. But I'm also going to go and check these bulbs on the turn signals. Right, back in a bit. Okay, so the indicators were quite simple. I just swapped over the bulbs at the back, and you can see that that is now going the correct speed. And the reason is that the one that was in there is a 15 watt. That one there is a 21 watt. So that's enough to change the speed at which the electromechanical indicator control works. So we'll just need to go and swap some bulbs out. So I just need to go and get another 21 and we're good to go. So that's quite a simple fix. One other thing I've got to do, a couple of places after the drive around yesterday, is the trim has come loose. Specific there, but also around the door, which you can see lying on the floor here. So I've got a little bit of adhesive. So this channel for some reason is a little bit wider than this channel, but that 12mm does actually fit in here. It's probably a 15 or something. but I'm just going to put little dabs of adhesive around. That'll hold it in place. It looks fine when it's in place. You just don't want it to keep coming out. So I'll do that very shortly. But apart from that, it ran extremely well. And I'll just get those things fixed now. So as you can see, I've managed to get the dash cluster out, which was simply a case of a couple of screws at the bottom, one in the middle here for the lower binnacle cover, and then the top piece just unclipped off it. And then you put your hand underneath here and grip the side of the speedo cable, which is just spring loaded, and that just pops off the back of the speedo. That gives you the room then to pull everything out. Obviously somebody's been in here before. We have various wires that I don't recognize, but having a problem identifying a voltage regulator, which is challenging at the moment. So I'm going to dig around a little bit further, try and work out what all these wires are meant to do, and see if we can find something that's looking as though it might be where we've got to trace the problem. But yeah, I'll be back in a bit if I can discover anything else. Okay, I think I found the problem. So if you can look here, just in there, we've got some detached copper track, and the one on the other side appears to be broken. Now, I'm not sure, I need to do a bit of research, but I think this contraption here is the voltage regulator, because it's connected to that post there, which is on the back of the fuel gauge. So I'm pretty certain therein lies our problem. So I'm going to have to start dismantling things a little bit and just see what's actually going on. But that looks to be the problem, so I might have to put some wires in instead of the tracks. But we'll have a look at it and see how they see whether that works. But yeah, that looks to be the problem at the moment. Okay, so I've got this on the bench, and I'm going to just take these little nuts off here and fold this back, and then put some jumper wire between the various points. I'll find a suitable point where it's connected. We'll just bypass that piece of tracking at the back there. So yeah, let me just crack on with that. I'll show you the results. So after all that, I'm thwarted because first of all, the tracks are not broken, they've just come adrift, so I'm going to glue those back together. But worse of that, that was not a voltage regulator, that's a rheostat. That's for changing the illumination of the dashboard. So that's just a variable resistor. I should have thought about that if I'd looked closer. Right, so we're still none the closer, none the wiser as to why this is not doing what it should be doing. So yeah, a bit more thought required, or a bit more digging around. I'm going to go on the forums and see if anybody else has got any ideas, but that for the moment has just left me a little bit stranded, because that is not what I thought it was. Okay, right, I'll see what I can find out. Well, the joys of owning a 42-year-old vehicle that's had multiple owners, because somebody's been playing around with the wires. So this is the left-hand connector, and those have just been snipped off, which I'm going to have to dig around and see if I can find the wiring diagram for. And where they should have been connected, which are those wires there, this one has been spliced into a blue wire that goes off somewhere. This wire here connects to the white wire there, which I'm fairly certain is the fuel sender. But what on earth it is doing, I have no idea at the moment. Anyway, I'm going to disconnect this one, see if that fixes my fuel gauge issue, and then I'm going to go back and try and work out what the heck these wires here are doing, and if I don't connect them, what stops working. So a little bit of trial and error at the moment, but I will go and get the user manual out later on and see if I can find a wiring diagram for behind the dashboard. Because unfortunately things like ChatGPT have got no idea, because Renault never used a standardized wiring color. So basically it's whatever they had lying around, I think. Right, let's go and dig around and see if I can work out what's going on here. So I've just turned the ignition on, I've reconnected everything up. Not sure what I'm missing here, but the fuel gauge hasn't changed, so it's not that. So what I may do now is try earthing out the connector to the sender, to the fuel level sender, and see if that has any impact there. So let's just try that, see if we can get this gauge to at least register full. Right, after all of that I managed to track it down. The wire that was spliced into at the back is actually a variable voltage for the illumination, and it's to take off wires to change into interior lighting, so not worried about that anymore. And the answer to the fuel gauge is it's broken, so I'm gonna have to go and find another second-hand cluster from somewhere and swap over the fuel gauge. Yeah, that's disappointing, but there you go. Right, I shall go and do a search, so I'll leave it there for now, and next time I'll be back hopefully with a replacement fuel gauge, or a replacement instrument cluster even. But yeah, I'm just going to leave this in its current state. We're not using the vehicle just at the moment, so crack on with a couple of other jobs later on. But thanks for watching. I will be back when I've got some better news. That was all going too well, wasn't it? Right, cheers for now. So just another bit of update on the chaos that is behind the dash. So I've ordered a new dash. I managed to find one for €20, so that's on its way, so I can dismantle the various bits. So I started off by putting the an extra 5 litres of fuel in the tank, or even though I filled it up the other day, I just wanted to make sure. And that rose it absolutely to the top of the tank, so I know that's full. But the fuel gauge did actually increase very slightly, but only to just under half full. So I'm fairly certain that the sender is working, because it did increase as the fuel went up, and it's more to do with the actual gauge itself. But in the meantime, I've been looking at this. In the middle here is a clock, and it looks like somebody has been bodging around in here anyway. But I did find a brown wire, which is this one here, which was connected to the positive. And I'm thinking, why is that there? And the answer is, it's a direct connection to the battery. No fuse, nothing. So somebody has just connected a wire through to the clock directly from the battery terminal, and not even bothered to put a fuse in, which is crazy, because just down here we have the fuse box, and in there I'm going to be able to find a permanent 12 volt connection. So I've got no idea why that was done, but anyway, let me get that rewired and take that horribly unsafe wire out of the way, and move on to the next one. I have managed to find a workshop manual in French, of course, which does have sort of a wiring diagram that I can use there, but I think I'm going to put it onto the photocopier and just blow it up a little bit, because it's a little bit complex to work out. There are the 3 connections for the back of the instrument cluster, but I just need to trace some of these codes around, and they're all a little bit hard to read, so I'll just blow that up and have a look at it and see if we can work out what they should be. But yeah, the joys of inheriting something that's not been particularly well reconfigured, should I say. Right, I'm going to go and get this sorted. I will be back hopefully with a working dash, or at least look, the clock is working. I did put 12 volts on the clock and it does work, so that's the main thing. So let's just make it safe now. Okay, so I've just connected the right to positive wire up to the fuse panel. So we've now got fused feed, and the other one goes to a common ground. So at least now we've got a working clock. But next, as I say, is going to be the fuel gauge, but we'll have to wait for the instrument panel to arrive in the post. So I'll put that in the next video. Thanks for watching. It's been a bit of a short one, but hopefully it's just another step in the right direction for the Rapido 410. Okay, I will see you on the next one. Hopefully it won't be too long before we get that one up. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe. It really does help if you can. But anyway, talk to you soon. Bye for now.